Hello everyone! Today is episode 3 of the dualities series and I want to talk to you about the Capricorn and Cancer axis. I will try to do my best to explain to you what the energies of the Saturn ruled sign of the zodiac have to do with the moon ruled sign of the zodiac. So we have Cancer, the child of the zodiac, and we have Capricorn, the papa of the zodiac. Do you know the expression come to daddy? Well, it was created by Saturn people. That's kind of the influence that they project onto other out there in the environment. Cancer. I'm gonna start with them. Oops, sorry. My camera decided to slide. My camera is going with the flow. Cancer. Moon-ruled babies. What are they all about? Cancer is the most nostalgic sign of the zodiac. They are those people that like to collect things. They are very similar to Virgos in that perspective. They love everything that has to do with the family, with childhood memories, with their hometown, with their home team, with going to school and all those amazing little memories that they have from primary school and secondary school. They have the dominion over cooking, over nurturing, over taking care of children. They are excellent mothers and fathers, usually very devoted, highly emotional, highly in tune with their intuition, very astute businessmen and businesswomen as well because of that. Very hard to fool because they have that. They don't function from a mental place, so they are a water sign. They are cardinal water. They don't really function from a space of logic in the sense of things go from A to B to C. They can be quite organized, so I'm not in any way trashing Cancers for not being organized, but they function from the heart. And they function from not only that, but their gut instinct. They are incredibly good at just feeling people out. Does the situation feel good? Does this person feel good? Does this business venture feel good? Do I feel like I want to engage in something committed with you? Do I feel like I can trust you with my money, with my feelings, with my legacy, with my house, with my family? They are very, very much the sign that is ruled by their feelings. And just as the moon is changing its phases and its signs, so their feelings can change very quickly from one state to another. You might find Cancers that are one moment very hot and bothered and they're really desiring to have sex with you, and the next moment they're worrying about their finances and about something a colleague said at work, and then the other moment they wax lyrical about the time when they used to be children and this is what they would like to share with the next generation, and then they will just completely tune out and be very silent and just need to rest and retreat. They are very fluctuating. Their emotions are notoriously difficult to handle. They have a lower bottle up period than Scorpios because they are cardinal water, not fixed water. So for example, they can bottle feelings up just for the span of a couple of hours and then they just explode. But usually they are very good at just understanding their emotions, reflecting upon their emotions, understanding other people's emotions and nurturing other people. They are those people that, when you go through a death in the family or you go through a breakup or you go through a divorce, they just come, they sit by your side, they look at you and they go like, I know how that feels, let me take care of you. Okay, so that's the Cancerian energy. Just like the crab, they are represented by the crab, and you might wonder, what does a crab have to do with the moon? Well, just as the moon changes the tides in and out, the fluctuations of the water on the planet with its movements, so does a crab also fluctuate between coming out on the shore and going deep into the water. Not only that, but Cancer is also about protection. They are such a protective sign. They are those people that if you have a Cancer boyfriend or a Cancer husband, usually they would be, the first thing that they do after they fall in love with you, they would raise fences around the house, They will install security cameras around the house just to make sure that you are protected, that you are kept safe, that nothing can harm you. So they are wonderful from that point of view, although they can take it to an extreme. And, you know, a lot of perpetrators of domestic violence are also Cancers. So they can take it to the other dark extreme, the shadow self, which is, I love you so you can't belong to anyone else, you know. So like the kind of dark side of Cancer. This reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are with Please Don't Go, I'll Eat You Up, I'll Love You So, or that song from Alt J, Breeze Blocks. You should have a listen to that. That's exactly how a Cancerian gone wrong personality is described in that song. So yeah, have a listen to Alt J, Breeze Blocks. It's fantastically creepy and dark. Anyway, coming back to lighter aspects, I am going to talk about the defects and the qualities of all the signs, because we all have them, and that's what makes us us. That's what makes us unique. So I'm not going to just play upon the strengths of all the signs. I'm going to talk about the shadow aspects as well. Okay, so sorry if this bugs some people, but I'm going to say it as it is. I have a moon in Sagittarius. I love the truth in all its complexity. Okay, so Cancers are about protection. The crab has a very tough shell, but a very soft underside. They are delicious. Have you ever had a crab? It's absolutely delicious on the inside, but on the outside, they have that really tough shell, okay? So they are the quintessential man and woman that looks really tough on the outside, unapproachable, very much in defense mode, but they are sweethearts on the inside. Very different to Capricorns that tend to be quite alluring and charming on the outside, but they are so tough on the inside. Mostly because some people think that they might not feel something, and in some situations that might be very well true. When your emotional world is governed by Saturn, your emotions tend to be frozen, and I'm going to talk in a second about that. But let me just wrap up with Cancer. So Cancer, moon energy, crab babies, protection and suffocation at the same time. They are the sweethearts of the zodiac, the girl and boy next door, those guys that you know, they have a childhood sweetheart, or the women that have a childhood boyfriend, and they will always come back to that initial love over and over and over again. Have a look at the football player Messi, okay? He's like an internationally renowned, super talented football player. He married his childhood sweetheart, who by the way is a Pisces, so they're super compatible. But it's like, it's that whole thing, like he could have any woman that he could have in the world, but he went back to his Argentinian roots and he married his childhood sweetheart. So that is the Cancerian energy, you know. They value where they come from, they value what made them through. They are those people that have like hero fantasies. They are really into this story of being saviors for other people. They want to sacrifice themselves for others. Why? Because they think of the whole world as their family, and when they love people, and they do that quite often and quite freely, they consider them part of their family. So if you have a Cancerian boss, they would treat you almost slightly in an unprofessional way, in the sense that they would treat you like you're part of the family, okay? And they would get really offended if you forget their birthdays or some random personal stuff like that, you know? So there can be good sides to this kind of approach, the fact that you feel welcome, the fact that you feel heard and nurtured and treated as a human being, but there can be some bad sides to this approach, the fact that there needs to be some boundaries between how Cancerians express themselves and the world. Enter Capricorns. Somebody say boundaries. Capricorns, oh mama. Okay, so they are Saturn ruled. Who is Saturn in astrology? Well, in folklore and mythology, Saturn is represented by the goat, the horny goat of the zodiac. One of the most physical, sensual energies that there are around. The god Pan is usually associated with Capricorn. Not only that, but if you go back to medieval Europe, Saturn was represented by, guess what? None other but the devil. Okay, so well done, Capricorns. You tend to be associated with one of the most feared symbol in Christianity, whether Catholicism or Orthodoxy. So you're associated with the devil, the horned goat, the harbinger of material and physical desires. Because why is the devil so feared? It's because it detracts man and women and mankind from their spiritual nature. Okay, so that's the problem with the separation between good and evil and religion. Good is considered to be the spiritual higher realm, the fifth dimension, which few of us can actually achieve because we are in a way bounded by the laws of physics and gravity, and we have our five senses. We do have needs such as eating and pooing and peeing and so on and so forth. So we do have these elements that are part of our body. We do live embodied lives. So Capricorn just reminds us all the time of that. You have a body. You have some material needs. You need a roof above your head. You need a bed in which you need to sleep. You need to take a shower. You need to eat. You need to have money. Why? Because money brings you security. Because money brings you all these material goods that make you feel comfortable so that you can work. Work is the quintessential aspect that defines Capricorns. Effort, work. Putting in the sweat, blood, and tears to get where you're gonna go. Why? Because most Capricorns are actually born into lives of hardship. They don't really come into this world with silver spoons. They come into harsh environments of poverty, of desolation. They come into families that are filled with ancestral traumas, such as sexual abuse or trauma or alcoholism or violence, a history of violence and crime. And they are there karmically placed in these spaces to purify them. Okay, so they are people that are very pure-hearted, but they need to learn how to self-master themselves. They need to understand who they are, and they learn this through a lot of trials and error and hardships. A lot of people that criticize them, a lot of people that feed them back only the harsh truths, and they incorporate this harsh truth and they turn it into self-discipline, self-mastery. And they become those people that have the qualifications. They become those people that have the body. They become those people that are incredibly healthy, like the CEO that runs 20 kilometers in their lunch break around the building and then comes back and like dishes all the most important regulations and ideas. Those are the kind of people that a high functioning Capricorn embodies usually. They are the Nobel Prize winners. They are the teachers, the gurus, the leaders, the businessmen. They are the politicians, usually the religious authorities. They embody institutions in society. They embody the rule of law, tradition, the patriarchy. Okay, while Cancer is more of a matriarchal energy, so it's all about femininity. Whether you're a Cancer man or a Cancer woman, you're very in tune with your inner feminine goddess. While if you're a Capricorn woman or a Capricorn man, you're much more into those patriarchal qualities: power, physical prowess, authority, not saying that much, but doing, showing yourself through your actions rather than your words, rising up in the ranks, climbing a hierarchy, just like the goat. So the mountain goat that climbs very carefully with its tiny paws and its tiny hoofs in very weird yoga-like positions on the mountains. Have you seen one? There's a museum. You can actually watch it here in the city in which I live in. There are dioramas in this museum, and it's absolutely amazing, like the positions that those mountain goats can actually twist themselves into. So go and watch a mountain goat. See something on Discovery Channel just to get an idea of what that energy that the Capricorn is supposed to embody, that putting yourself in really uncomfortable situations just so you can reach the top. And when you reach the top, you made it. You survived. You're the best. You're top goat. Okay, so that might be quite a lot to take in, because you might be thinking, okay, it's the goat, there's Saturn, there's the devil. What am I to make of this? I'm a Capricorn, I'm just trying to mind my own business. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about that. I'm just talking about archetypal energies. I'm talking about collective archetypes. I'm talking about the symbolism behind your star sign. that doesn't mean that you are a lunatic or that you are the devil. It just means that these are some of the energies that our ancestors symbolically attributed to the constellations during the period in which you were born. And Cancers are born in July, one of the hottest months of the year, and Capricorns are born during the toughest, coldest months of the year, January, okay? So, especially if you live in the northern hemisphere. If you live in the southern hemisphere, they're reversed. Anyway, so just putting it out there. Sorry, my camera again. Yeah, so how do these energies function together? A high functioning Capricorn is like a Cancer. They are that boss that cares about its employees, but does so in a very respectful and professional manner. A low functioning Cancer might be that kind of boss that abuses its employees. You know, they slap on the butt, or it's a cheeky joke that actually crosses a very important social boundary, whether it is sexist or racist. It can be of any kind, or classist. But a high functioning Capricorn boss understands the need for boundaries, understands the need for, okay, so you are your own person, I am my own person, let's see where we can meet and make a compromise. Let's see, what do you have to bring into the situation and how can I reward you for this? But, you know, you also need to know your limits, because this is just work, so don't get any other ideas. While a Cancer boss might be quite different. They might be more concerned with the nature of the work, taking care of the people. They might be those people that bring cookies, you know, into meetings. We want to make sure that everybody's comfortable. They want to make sure that everybody's opinions are heard. While Capricorns are more about, like, we have to go through a list of items. We only have 4 hours to do this. This is your role. This is what my role is, and this is how it's going to play out, okay? So they're much more organized from that point of view. So it's a lot about order and organization. It's a lot about legacy. What is the legacy you're leaving behind? So if Capricorns, for example, care so much about their social status, about how they appear to others, you might find when they reach those positions of power in society, you will never see them with the hair out of place. You know, you will always see them with their PR team around them, prepared to manage their self-image, because they care so much about how other people perceive them, because they worked so hard to reach that position of power where they are, and they're incredibly grateful, and they are incredibly territorial. They are like, this is my turf, I delineated it, nobody is fucking with my work, okay? And they are very successful because of that. They are influencers. Their work, once a Capricorn commits to something and they put a lot of effort in, it takes a lot of time until their work is acknowledged. But once their work is acknowledged, it's fantastically long-lasting. Think about the teachings of Alan Watts, who was a Capricorn. Think about Jesus Christ. He was a Capricorn, born on the 25th of December by some scriptures. Think about Elvis Presley and his music, for example. Think about Samuel L. Jackson and his movies. He's everywhere. He played in every movie at the moment. You perpetually see him working. And it happened more so for him as he advanced in his age rather than earlier in their lifetime. For Cancers, it's quite different. They might be that queen and king of the prom. They might be those really alluring teenage celebrities. So they reach fame and popularity very early on in their life, and then they settle into their family life, and their work starts to slow down slowly and gradually. Obviously, I'm generalizing here. It's not the same for all Cancers, but this is usually the pattern that you tend to see. While for Capricorns, it's exactly the opposite. Capricorns, when they are very young, they are in student mode. They are in building mode. So be careful. If you are falling in love with a Capricorn man or a woman, don't try to get them to commit into things before the age of 30. 30, so around 29 and 30 years of age, is when Saturn, the planet that rules them, is having its famous Saturn return. And that is a pivotal time for Capricorns. That is the moment when they grow into their Capricorn sun. So if you've been lusting for a Capricorn man or woman for a long time, and you're thinking, when is he going to commit? When is she going to commit? Well, the answer is when they are going to be stable in their work. Like for Capricorns, work comes first, marriage after. For Cancers, it's exactly the opposite. Marriage and family comes first. Work, it's something that they are passionate about. It's something that gives them security, but they will always like take a rain check or take some days off to go and take care of their child, to go and watch their I don't know, little league game or their celebration at school, or if their child is sick, they will prioritize that over work, over an important business meeting, over sealing a deal, over I don't know, merging two companies. So a high functioning Cancer functions like a Capricorn. They are much more organized than your ordinary Cancer. They understand the need for slow patience, for taking things slowly, for respecting people's boundaries, for combining work with family in a balanced way. So the axis of Cancer and Capricorn is a very serious axis because it's about the foundations of our lives, work and family. In spite of the fact that a lot of us might have very odd relationships with our families, or considering the day and age in which we are living, where work is so frugal and project-based and temporal, we might have a very strained relationship with work as well. But these are the foundations of our life nonetheless. So emotions, where we get to live most of them in our close, intimate family environment, and work, where we get to spend most of our adult lives because, we're pressured by capitalism, most of us, to earn a living and put food on our tables and be independent beings. So Capricorn and Cancer rule the foundations of our life. They are usually represented on the zodiac wheel by the IC, which is the Imun Coeli, or the bottom of a person's chart, and the midheaven, or the public persona, the career, the image that you project onto others. So Capricorns are a lot about your legacy and who you are and what you leave behind. So not necessarily about the nitty-gritty of everyday life. They are about the book that gets you the Pulitzer Prize. They are about the invention that gets you the Nobel Prize, and that is your legacy. You will forever be that person. It's about putting honor to your name. It's about making your name worth it. Patti Smith, for example, who is a person I absolutely adore, she is a Capricorn as well, and she mentioned in her book, Just Kids, how she had a fateful meeting with Allen Ginsberg, I think, and he told her, be careful what you associate with your name, because your name is your legacy. And that's really, really important for Capricorns. That's why they are so careful about who they get into relationships with, the trail that they leave, because one day they might run for presidency. You never know. And considering their stamina and their intelligence and their perseverance, they might just be very successful at it. So that's kind of the Capricorn energy, and they can do wrong when they function from a very cruel place. So when they just prioritize work to the point of exhausting themselves and neglecting their emotions, neglecting the fact that they have a heart, neglecting or forgetting to build a family, forgetting to have that support system, and then they just end up being that immensely successful person, the goat that has climbed the top of the mountain, and they find out that they are alone and it wasn't worth it. Because what is the point of having all this power, all this material and financial stability, if you can't share it with your loved ones? And this is where Cancer as the polarity kicks in. It's all about reminding us of our heart, reminding us of the need to have a family as a group of people that support you, as a group of people that will always be there for you no matter what. So even if you have highs and lows in your career, even if you reach top goat or bottom goat, you are loved, you are protected, you are admired by people that, okay, they might not have a global visibility, but they know you, they know your heart, they know who you are in your moments of vulnerability. That's another key thing. Cancer, vulnerability. Capricorn, power. So it's all this beautiful tandem between power and vulnerability, emotions and order, maternal qualities going with the flow of things, and paternal qualities, structuring, protection, and authority. Leaving a legacy, but also leaving a personal bloodline. Yeah. A low functioning Cancer would borrow a lot of the characteristics of a Capricorn. They would be obsessed with work and neglecting the foundations of their family. They would be trespassing over people's boundaries. But a high functioning Cancer would be a Cancer that, as I mentioned before, is not only a boss that is organized and takes care and is very attentive and astute with finances and business deals and feeling people out as to what they can bring to the table. But they can also understand the need for limits and limitations and patience and waiting for things to grow through time, because Saturn rules time. The moon is a very fickle, moody planet that changes every day, actually, and changes signs, astrological signs, every 2 days, and goes through a period of being decreased in energy, then increases in energy with every new and full moon. So there are these polarities, these quintessential polarities between masculinity and femininity, between family and work, between tradition and going with the flow of nature, between chaos and order, between warmth, extreme warmth and comfort, and deprivation and cold and restriction and harshness. Imagine the month of January compared to the month of July. How do you feel? How do you dress? What do you eat during those periods? It's a very strong contrast. The heat of the summer and the dark and the cold of the winter. These are kind of the quintessential characteristics that Capricorn and Cancers embody as opposites. But you can imagine when they come together, and a lot of Capricorns and Cancers are drawn to each other, they can each help each other out. Capricorns cool the heat of the Cancers. They settle them down. They give them this sense of safety and stability that Cancers crave so much, to put them at ease, to relax, to let themselves go and be vulnerable. While Cancers warm Capricorns up like no one before. They give them this nurturing that they've been deprived of. They give them food, they give them children, they give them pleasure. They give them this shifting, fluctuating nature of their watery sign. It's almost like water that quenches over parched earth, and parched earth that sustains very fluid and chaotic water. So that's basically the magic of the Cancer and Capricorn axis. I personally really love both signs. I'm a Pisces, so I resonate very well with both of them. And there is nothing like the dependability of a high-functioning Capricorn. I say high-functioning because a lot of them are low-functioning, and they can be quite hurtful, cruel individuals that are obsessed with material goods. Either that or are very self-destructive. So instead of becoming the CEO that puts a lot of effort into whatever they may be doing, or the doctor or the lawyer or the teacher, or they might just waste their talents through taking drugs and engaging in alcoholism, and like, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with people engaging in some sort of coping mechanism, because life is hard sometimes, you know, and you have to just make do with what you want. But they can take it to an extreme, because another thing that the Cancer-Capricorn axis rules, and maybe this is not something that's very talked about, it rules pain and pleasure as well. So Capricorn and Cancers, if you have these planets in your chart, if you have a north node or south node axis, if you have Venus in Cancer, Venus in Capricorn, if you have your ascendant in Capricorn or your ascendant in Cancer, you are very responsible looking individuals. People come to you for advice, but like in intimacy, in situations of getting close to somebody in sexuality, you might have some of the S&M kind of attitudes or mentalities to it. You might really enjoy like all sorts of sexual games that are about creating a little bit of pain, or you might consider that love is painful or should be painful, and it's a lot about effort and hard work and make me earn, you know, make me work for it, make me earn your orgasm or whatever. So that's one of the other attributes of this axis. It's this idea of effort in everything that you do, of earning love or affection or sex or whatever it is that can be materially gained or can be physically gained. So that's where the devil kind of capacity comes in. Not that I'm in any way labeling S&M practices as devilish. They can be, you know, I mean, who am I to judge anyone? But it's about, I just want you guys to keep in mind this idea of the pain and pleasure duality. So from my experience of having met people that have these placements, it's a lot about these kind of games, you know, it's a lot about enjoying these kind of role plays where you are the, you know, the dominated and the dominant, or you are the vulnerable person and the person in power, so on and so forth. So those can be highly pleasurable as well. But it's just something to keep in mind as to how these two energies can play out, the moon and Saturn. I'm just going to leave you guys there. I won't keep you anymore. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this enjoyable. I hope I clarified and illuminated some things. Let me know if you'd like me to do different kinds of videos. If you liked or disliked, please comment, share, and subscribe. I send you all my love. Hope you have a lovely night, and I'll see you next time. Bye, my loves.